Welcome to the AoEC webinar series in preparation for the Systemic Team Coaching Certificate 3-day program. I'm John Leary-Joyce, founder and principal trainer for the Academy of Executive Coaching. In this webinar, we're going to focus on the systemic team coaching process. So when Peter Hawkins created the 5 disciplines model, he put into there a process that he called SID-Clear. And this stands for contracting, setting up the initial arrangement with the team and the team leader and the sponsor. Then a deeper inquiry into what the key issues were, discovering and diagnosing what the solution might be and to work with the team, and then engaging in the coaching process, listening, exploring, creating action over a period of time, and then finally having a review to see what had worked and what needed to change and be different. When Hilary Lyons and I wrote our book, Systemic Team Coaching, we looked more closely at this process and came up with another version called SIDER, S-I-D-E-R, which we feel refines and simplifies the process for you. So let's look at that. Here we have SIDER, which is scoping and forming the initial arrangement, inquiry and discovery, developing is the D, and developing the agenda, creating the contract, engagement and execution, and review. So let's look at this in some more depth. So what is the scoping and agreement phase? So this is about tuning into the system, building relationships with sponsors, and getting to know the team leader and what the issues were involved. The inquiry and discovery phase was looking into the team and its context and getting a sense of the wider system data, what's going on in the organization. Then we looked at what was it that needed to happen here, and we've called this developing agenda. And this is about creating a relationship and a sort of output and a contract. It's very much about connecting with the team leader and with the team and getting a sense of collaboration of what would work in the team. Fourthly, it's about engaging and executing. So working in partnership with the team. And this process is about cycling through the 5 disciplines framework. And finally, review, a continuous cycle of learning and about assessing the impact and the outcomes. If we then map this against the work of the team, the 5 disciplines model, we'll see here that on the left-hand side, the STCC process is the responsibility of the team coach, and on the right, the work of the team. And the scoping agreement, primarily with the sponsor, who may also be the team leader, then the inquiry and discovery and creating the development agenda, it's done around all 5 disciplines. This is the initial stage. And if we were looking at a time frame for this, the scoping may take a month or so, a bit like the chemistry session in individual coaching. The inquiry and discovery probably would take a number of weeks, and getting clear, the development agenda, the first meeting or so with the team to really clarify what are we going to do here. Then once there's a contract and a time frame for that, we're looking at in the region of 3 months to a year, the engagement, the time at which you work through the 5 disciplines to clarify what the team has to deliver and how it's going to do it, how it's going to solve its problems and improve its performance. And finally, the review. So let's say a little bit more about what's happening at the scoping, inquiry, and discovery phases. So some of the issues that we need to address, first of all, around confidentiality. This is way more complex for working with the team than with individual, because if you begin to have individual conversations, you're generating information about other team members, and you really have to be clear with the individual team members when you're talking to them privately what the boundary is around that. And on the program, we'll spend quite a lot of time discussing what the key issues are around confidentiality and boundaries. Then there's a whole area of the role of the team leader. Is the team leader a level of authority? Are they expecting to be the boss? Or are they part of the team? So to what extent do you keep the team leader informed of what's happening up ahead of time? Or do you include them as the whole team, looking towards getting some collective leadership? Again, we'll discuss that. And then different types of inquiry process. In the next webinar introduction series, we're going to be looking at the Team Connect 360 process. But of course, there are many other ways of engaging with the team and clarifying what needs to be discovered in this inquiry phase. And then finally, we'll talk about how we price that. Do we have a price for the inquiry phase and then for the execution, or do we wrap it up? These are the issues we're going to talk about on the program. And a little bit about the initial contracting with the sponsor and the team for the inquiry. So setting that up, getting clear in your mind, what is systemic team coaching and what will be involved? How you as the team, you will work as a team coach with them, and what they need from you as the systemic team coach. And sometimes you have to sell the value of this inquiry process. It's not always obvious that you as the team coach are having to do quite a lot of investigation into what's required. And then getting clear with the team, who are the stakeholders? That's not an easy job. This stakeholder map is one way of helping the team to clarify it. And of course, setting up a good line of communication. All of these things we will talk about on the program. And finally, generating the data in your inquiry. But this is really applying to all phases. There's two elements we'll emphasize continually on the program and becomes then a much bigger part of the diploma program. There are two key elements. One is what we call undirected sensory awareness. It's how you use yourself, how you feel, your perception, your gut reaction, your intuition. This is all of the non-rational side, because we have, in addition then, all of the directed cognitive awareness. These are your thoughts, your hypotheses, your analysis, your judgments, assumptions, opinions, the theories and the models that you bring. Again, we'll spend time on the program going through that and looking at how we apply it to our business simulation. So in summary from this webinar, we've looked at the STC process, the 5 phases that make up this CIDR model, the issues around scoping and inquiry, and then how we go about data collection. So I hope this gives you a real sense of what's involved in the program and will set you up to make the best use of the practical experience and the practice opportunities on the program. Thank you.